It was 6 months ago the season began. It started a long and winding road. Now, before the fish hang it up, they've got a visitor. The Tigers with Anibal and Omar and Mr. Triple Crown Miggy. Tonight, the Marlins face the American League Central champs, the Detroit Tigers. Final series of 2013, and yes, that is the roof open tonight on Marlins Park, open tonight for the Tigers and the Marlins. We'll kick off a three-game series. Look who's back in the house for the first time facing the Marlins. Miguel Cabrera, about to win another batting title. The Tigers march in, still trying to get that champagne smell and taste out of their uniforms. Hi everybody, Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton, and what a contrast. I mean, you could see the Tigers celebrating their third consecutive Central Division title. They're headed to the postseason. The Marlins, of course, have had a rebuilding year. And what makes the matchup odd is that there's a lot of Marlins over on that other side.
Yeah, there are. And I think, as they say in college, the Tigers travel well. They're going to have a lot of fans here this weekend. It's fun to see a little excitement at the ballpark and fun to see some familiar faces, too.
It's amazing to think that Miguel Cabrera has now played longer for the Tigers than he did for the Marlins.
Well, and he just continues to impress people wherever he goes, wherever he plays. His career batting average at .321. He's on his way to win his third consecutive batting title. He had a tremendous month of August. His on-base percentage this year is .440. Now, the problem with Miguel Cabrera right now, a little concern for Jim Leyland, that growing the hip area has been bothering him. He hasn't been able to drive the ball, and in the month of September, hitting just .246 with one home run. They want to get him right.
Jim Leyland wants to get the rotation right, and as we look at the pitching matchup going into this series, it's business as usual for the Marlins, our Coventry Healthcare matchup. But for the Tigers, a little tweaking here and there.
Yeah, we're not going to see Rick Porcello. He's in the bullpen. We'll see him out of the bullpen. We'll get to see Anibal Sanchez, Justin Verlander in the finale on Sunday. Tom Kohler tonight. Tom Kohler tries to have his third consecutive really good start.
And he's going up against a champion, the American League Central champs, the Detroit Tigers. In case you haven't heard, the front office shakeup, which has been rumored for the past couple of weeks, started today. Craig and Niner have that. Open. It'll be open tomorrow night. Let's go out to center field. Craig and Niner.
All right, Rich, thank you very much here. The big news here, really draping the whole three-game series now. The Marlins making an announcement. Jeffrey Loria releasing a statement this afternoon. Right around 4 o'clock, we heard that he has let go Larry Beinfest, his #1 man, and the president of baseball operations, who's been here for 12 years. General manager for many of those years, as the GM for the 03 champs, promoted to the president of baseball ops in 07. His 24th professional season. Larry will land well. He is well respected, and he did a wonderful job here. But Mr. Loria has decided to move on, and no further announcements made in terms of replacements yet. Looks like Dan Jennings certainly is in line, and Jim Fleming also let go, special assistant to the president. Was Larry Beinfest surprised by this move at all today?
Well, I don't think so. If you've been reading the papers or hearing in the media outlets, there's been a lot of speculation that there was going to be some change in the front office of the Marlins, and Jeffrey Loria confirmed that today.
Yes, he did. And Mike Redmond also didn't have a lot of time to think about this one. He did have a brief comment during his chat today with the media.
I just found this out when I walked out here, and you know, I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody, Jeffrey or anybody. So I think for all of us that have been around this game a long time, you realize that you know, change happens, and really that's until I talk to those guys and find out. I don't really have anything more to say about it.
Other than a statement, nothing else released from the ball club. Mr. Loria did say there will be soon further announcements regarding the structure of his Miami Marlins club as they go into the offseason after Sunday's game. You'd hate to have this kind of news spoil what is the excitement of a series here, where there's a lot of excitement around. We wish Larry nothing but the best. I know he's close to you, Jeff, and he's been great with all of us around the ball club. We liked him a lot, and nothing but a tip of the cap. He should land well.
Oh, he's definitely going to land well. I mean, it's part of the family when you are associated with the guy for so long, 12 years with this organization. You're always sad to see somebody like that go. All
right, the Tigers are here. A lot of Marlins connections. They are the AL Central champs. Still have a shot at a higher seed than they have right now, but they're going to postseason play. We'll have the final series of the season kicking off in just a moment.
Florida, brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By AT&T U-verse TV. Check availability 1-800-PICK-AT&T. Rethink possible. By Just for Men Mustache and Beard. And by Checkers. Feast on. Roof open. Game on. Marlins and Tigers on what has turned out to be a very comfortable night at the ballpark. Here come the champs, the American League Central champs. JM Lexus brings you the starting lineup. Austin Jackson is in center field. A lot of the regulars in there for Jim Leyland tonight. Andy Dirks over in right. Miguel Cabrera at third base. Prince Fielder backs him up. Johnny Peralta returns from a 50-game suspension. Alex Avila, the catcher. Hernan Perez is at second base. Jose Iglesias at short. And Jose Alvarez gets the start. Tom Kohler going for the fish.
Well, you look at the overall numbers for Tom Kohler, but go back 2 starts at Citi Field in New York. 8 shutout innings. He gave up just 3 hits. Last time out at Nationals Park, 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs. He was aggressive in the strike zone, had all of his pitches working.
He's going to need to be on tonight against the Tigers team. Very good offensively. Pinch a penny brings you the first pitch. Tom Kohler to center fielder Austin Jackson, and it's a fastball that misses down low. Jackson, who spent a little bit of time on the DL this year with a hamstring issue. Very good outfielder. Has been a center field his 4th year with the Tigers. Originally a Yankee draft pick, and he arrived in Detroit in that 3-team deal that saw another good center fielder leave, Curtis Granderson.
Kind of a swap of center fielders at the time. Tigers also acquired Phil Kolk and Ian Kennedy in that deal.
Oh, and a guy named Scherzer came in that 3-team deal.
Oh, yeah. The 21-game winner.
Yes. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That one fouled back and out of play. Jim Leyland's ball club, and you see Gene Lamont, who's been his top lieutenant in a couple of places, right next to him. You look at the Tigers, and across the board in a lot of the categories in the American League, Detroit's at the very top offensively. Jackson smacks it into right center field. Ruggiano is over, and he's there, and he makes the catch. It's going to be interesting to watch the outfielders tonight, Hut, as Cleveland Clinic brings you the defense.
Yeah, we'll always see how the ball carries, and it's been a while since we've had a game here with the roof open. Yelich, Ruggiano, and Stanton will be dealing with that in the outfield. The former Tiger, Placido Polanco at third. Lomo over at first, up the middle. Echeverria and Solano, and Coy Hill gets the assignment behind the plate.
Andy Dirks now. And Kohler misses outside. Well, changes certainly here with Larry Beinfest being relieved of his duties. Changes in Seattle. Eric Wedge informing the Mariners that he will not return in 2014. So you expect in these next few days a variety of teams making moves. Generally, Bud Selig has always asked teams once the postseason starts not to make big moves or big trades to take away from a lot of the postseason stuff.
So that's why a lot of the announcements are made right toward the end of the season. You wonder how much of the Eric Wedge situation has to do with him having a mild stroke this year and missed some time.
Struck him out. Tom Hallion rips himself in two.
Let us know, Tom Hallion.
Start that motor up.
Low fastball in the zone. Tom Hallion looked like he's pulling the cord to start the engine.
All right, so Tom Hallion gets his due, and now Miguel Cabrera comes to the plate. For the first time, the Marlins see Cabrera in a Tiger uniform when it's not spring training. And Miggy slices one to right. Stanton is on, and he makes a catch right at the knees. And Kohler has a brief first inning appearance. Nicely done. On to the bottom of the first. Scoreless underway. tonight, Marlins and Tigers. Glad you're with us. Here come the Fish. Marlins lineup brought to you by J.M. Lexus. Donovan Solano, former Tiger Placido Polanco, Christian Yelich in left, Giancarlo Stanton in right, Justin Ruggiano is in center field. Logan Morrison at first base, Adeiny Echeverria is at short, Coy Hill the catcher, and Tom Kohler hits ninth. Here's Solano now, and it's not Rick Porcello he's facing. That was the thought going into the morning, and the Tigers made a switch. Jose Alvarez, the 24-year-old Venezuelan who at one time was a Marlin farmhand. In fact, 2011 and 2012 pitched in Jacksonville.
Well, he did a great job this year pitching in Toledo International League. Alvarez was the Tigers minor league pitcher of the year. Had an 8.6 record, a nice 280 earned run average.
Solano takes a strike on the outside corner. You can see that with Alvarez, just about everything moves away from the right-handed bat. I think for a lot of the Marlins, Solano being one of them, they would like to put in a good weekend. You always want to finish those last 3 games with some hits, get that average up, get your numbers up as high as you can, head to the offseason, get ready for next year.
Bottom line, just want to finish on a good note.
Full count. It's 3-2. Congratulations to the Lucas family, a baby boy. And Ed nervous on that last road trip that he wouldn't be in town for that.
So Holly came through and waited till the team got home.
Yeah, well, congratulations to her, Ed. Just as throw to first in time. Fielder manning the bag over at first. Solano is out, and here come the Tigers. It's brought to you by the Cleveland Clinic, Florida.
All right, and there they are defensively. Johnny Peralta, Austin Jackson, and Andy Dirks. Miguel Cabrera, Jose Iglesias has made a nice difference for them at short since acquiring him. Hernan Perez at second. Prince Fielder never misses a game. And Alex Avila behind the plate.
Now Polanco. For Placido Polanco, he looks out and sees the Tigers. A familiar uniform. Strokes it in the hole and rolls it into left field. A base hit, a 1-out single for the former Tiger.
Told me today that he really enjoyed his time in Detroit with the Tigers. He had some big years there too.
Yeah, he is still, in terms of batting average, on a lot of Tiger lists. Of course, went from the Tigers to the Phils and spent 13 with the Marlins. Yelich now takes up.
I think for Christian Yelich, talk about any player trying to finish strong. Certainly young players want to do that. He wants to. Only got a couple of games, might be the only left-hander he's seen this series, but wants to try to improve on his average against lefties this year.
Up the middle. A little flip there, and Iglesias late to first. That was kind of in between for Hernan Perez. And with Yelich running, who runs better than you think, that was going to be a tough one to turn.
For the second baseman, Perez, he's got to decide, do I take this one myself or flip it? He flipped it, and then he caught Jose Iglesias kind of flat-footed at short, who really couldn't get much on the throw. Would have been difficult, as you pointed out, though, to get Yelich anyway.
Here's Stanton now with Yelich at first base. Now, this is the first time that Miguel Cabrera has come back to see the Marlins, but he knows all about Giancarlo Stanton. Look how deep Cabrera is at third base.
And Johnny Peralta, the left fielder, is only a few steps from the warning track, too.
Well, he may not know where to play. He hasn't played a whole lot of left field. Peralta just rejoining the team after his suspension. And the Tigers, having acquired Iglesias because of that suspension, like Iglesias so much that they've got Peralta in left, and they're hopeful that that's where he'll be in the postseason.
Well, the difference, Peralta's always been an offensive-oriented shortstop. Iglesias gives them that solid defense, which they need with Miguel Cabrera, who doesn't have a lot of range over at third base.
A strike to Stanton. Two and two. Jose Alvarez, signed originally with Boston. And he gets Stanton. A swing and a miss. Avila tags him out, and the Marlins are done in the first. Marlins and Tigers on the 28th, which is tomorrow. It's a Saturday night. Get all you can eat for just $27. That's the all you can eat seats. After the game, head to the West Plaza for a live concert with Gacho and Fito Blanco. Powered by South Florida Ford. Go to Marlins.com. Marlins and Tigers on a Saturday night. Now, here's a guy that has played aside a couple of most valuable players his 2 years leading into this year. Maybe it'll be 3 years in a row. And that's Prince Fielder. Ryan Braun, of course, in Milwaukee. Cabrera last year. Fielder, Peralta, Avila for the Tigers. Kohler misses in. And the Prince in the cleanup spot. 25 homers, 106 driven in.
Can you imagine a Prince Fielder in the same lineup as a Giancarlo Stanton? He might be talking about another MVP.
Not that Cabrera needs a lot of help, but that certainly doesn't hurt.
The other thing that I think always surprises people about Fielder, you look at his body type. But you know what? He's played 502 consecutive games. He rarely misses a game.
You're right about that. I mean, and here he is in games that certainly aren't meaningless in the lineup at first base. He's 29. This is his second year with the Tigers.
I totaled it up. He's only missed 13 games in his last 8 years.
It's incredible, and he earned himself a nice payday coming out of Milwaukee. 9 years, $214 million, and that was kind of the decision that the Brewers made. They had the money to pay one of them, either Braun or Fielder. They chose Braun, and you wonder if they regret that signing at this point. Fielder trots down to first on a leadoff walk by Kohler. And that's, as you pointed out, that's where Tom Kohler's gotten into trouble, is the walks, and that's what he's controlled his last 2 starts. He walked just 2 in the win at Washington. He walked no one in the 8 scoreless innings against the Mets. And guess what? Prince Fielder walks literally. He walked to first, and then he walked off the field. Don Kelly. So was that a token at bat just to keep the game streak going?
Keep the streak alive.
You okay with that?
Well, I'll tell you what's got to be interesting for Jim Leyland. He has to determine.
Torrey Hunter, or Johnny Peralta, rips one to center field. Ruggiano is there and makes the catch.
It's a Freudian slip because they do have Torrey Hunter, and he's not in the lineup.
I know, that's right. He's on. I prepped all day on Torrey Hunter, and Peralta snuck in there.
Here's the thing that Jim Leyland's going to have to put together and try to keep everybody sharp. Because they've won the Central Division, they don't play until next Friday. Their first postseason game is next Friday. So they're going to have a lot of days off. They'll probably open up in Oakland, and they'll travel to Oakland, from what I was told, more than likely Wednesday. So or maybe even Tuesday. They'll get some workouts out there, but he needs to try to keep everybody sharp.
Here's Alex Avila. Avila, Archbishop McCarthy High School, and then on to the University of Alabama. His father, a Marlin executive, along with Dave Dombrowski.
As his father is now with the Tigers, vice president and assistant general manager to Dave Dombrowski. Grandfather Ralph, longtime executive with the Dodgers. And a great kid, solid citizen. Didn't have the year he had a couple of years ago. 2011, 19 home runs, hit .295.
He was an all-star that season. Kelly the runner at first. You know, you think about it, what Jim Leyland just did with Prince Fielder to preserve his consecutive game streak. That one was a ways off. If you're not going to the postseason, Fielder's in the lineup. He's playing every game. There's no question about it. But it's almost like Leyland's protecting him from himself. Because if the lineup went up and Fielder wasn't in it, you would expect him to storm Leyland's office and say, how come I'm not in the lineup? Maybe that's the compromise they reached.
Plus, Leyland's been very outspoken about an American League team finishing the season in a National League city, especially with his team preparing for postseason.
Kohler misses away, and this is not a good sign. You look at this split. He's behind 3-1 to Avila, who smacks one to center. Ruggiano comes on, makes the catch. Kelly almost looked like he forgot how many outs there were because he was steaming towards second and then all of a sudden hit the brakes. Either that or he felt the ball was going to fall in.
Well, Avila has a good swing at a 3-1 pitch. There goes Kelly. And then all of a sudden the light went on and it kicked in. Hey, there was only one out at the time.
Now Perez, Omar Infante getting the night off. And a breaking ball is a strike. If Kohler can get through this rough patch without his control against this lineup, then he has to feel like he's accomplished something and try to get back that same control he's had in his last 2 starts.
And a couple good breaking balls there for strikes. That's what he's been able to do the last 2 games. The curveball, the slider, an occasional changeup, and the fastball he's been able to work in the strike zone.
He's facing Perez, the 22-year-old Venezuelan. When Kohler misses, he misses by a bunch. And the count 1-2. Tigers last year won the Central. This is their 3rd consecutive division title. Last year they won the division with just 88 wins. That was only the 7th best record in baseball. A swing and a miss, and so Kohler does weather some control issues in a scoreless game. Don Kelly stays in the ball game. He came in for Prince Fielder. He's at first. Justin Ruggiano, Logan Morrison, Adeiny Echeverria against Jose Alvarez. Alvarez not real big, 5'11", 180. Ruggiano comes into the weekend at 18 homers, 18 doubles, 15 stolen bases. And you talk about a roller coaster of a year for a guy like Ruggiano. That 0 for forever streak that he had.
That's what it seemed like to him, I'm sure.
That he finally snapped in Kansas City. 0 for 42. And then he had a really nice late August and September.
You realize since that 0 for 42, he's 36 for 120. That's a 300 average.
And with the struggles of Jake Marisnick, he's seen a lot more time.
Doesn't it seem great with the roof open tonight?
It does.
It's nice out here.
You got the skyline of Miami just starting to light up. Ruggiano pulls a ground ball. Cabrera to his left. Former shortstop in his younger years can still pick it. AT&T U-verse Poll question. Will the Tigers break Detroit's world title drought? Hashtag Tigers yes. Hashtag Tigers no.
Wait a minute, our director Jim Holly has already chimed in on that. He's already voted.
So world title drought in across all sports or just Tigers? Yeah, man, because you've got the Pistons.
Yeah, I think it's just the Tigers.
Got the Wings. Not so much the Lions, but they're working on that. Morrison now. He takes high. For Logan Morrison, it's been an interesting season, and Morrison opened up last week in an article talking about trying to find the consistency that he's always had as a player in the minor leagues, and even his first season and a half in the big leagues before a knee injury really put him for almost 2 seasons playing injured, always seemingly rehabbing. The fact that since arriving here, he's been able to stay healthy as a plus.
Yeah, it's. I think it just goes to show that it's a game where consistent reps are needed, and he just over the last couple of years hasn't had that.
And Alvarez with a fastball gets under the hands of Morrison for a strikeout. Let's scout this 5'11" lefty.
Talked about his year this year. Changeup's his best pitch. We've seen some really good ones so far. He'll be a little inconsistent with the breaking ball. Alvarez, Jeremy Hermida. Well, when Jeremy Hermida was traded to the Red Sox, Jose Alvarez was part of the package that came to Miami.
Cabrera takes down low. Cabrera in the 7 spot. Now, Alvarez, as we noted, pitched a couple years in Jacksonville. 2011 not so good, an ERA of 5.35. Last year better, 6-9, a 4.22 ERA.
And we talked about his ERA this year in the International League, 2.80.
His ERA, his WHIP, everything very, very good this year. He wasn't down there the whole season. He's been up, has been in the rotation, and then shifted to the bullpen, getting a start tonight. Omar Infante. And I guess that's kind of fitting on a night when the Tigers come back. And you know the obvious ones. You know Cabrera, you know Jim Leland, you know Anibal Sanchez, you know Omar Infante, but not many people remember Jose Alvarez as being a Marlin. He was in the minor leagues for 3 seasons. Tom Hallion rings him up in a 1-2-3 inning. Alvarez is cruising. He has struck out 3. Scoreless in Miami tonight. and Marlins. The Fox Sports Florida Fantasy Auction raised over $100,000 for the Marlins Foundation because of people like this. Lawrence Levy joins us now. First of all, thank you for your contributions. You bid on the package and won the package as sort of the Fox Sports Florida broadcaster experience.
Yes, I did.
And so you get to call somewhat this next half inning.
Actually, Rich, isn't that the cue that we leave?
No, don't do that to me.
You know what?
I want to learn from you. I don't know what to do here.
We did a little homework on you and found all these pictures of you on the internet.
Yep, I'm actually known as the Marlins man.
You are the Marlins man, and here's a photo of you, and that's the World Series last year. No, it's the American League Championship.
The Championship Series. That's when I actually started. I went to New York, and I went with a friend of mine to the game, and I was sitting between Giuliani and Blumberg, and I didn't realize how much I stood out, and people started taking pictures, and there was I was the Orange Marlins guy, but I wasn't planning that. It just happened.
Jose Iglesias got jammed. Now, once it happened, all over Twitter, there was, hey, who's the guy with the Marlins jersey? And not just at World Series or Championship Series, but in other events, you were able to rock the red-orange.
I've been doing this as a Marlins fan since the first year in the teal, but when they went into orange, it stood out. And I've been to Super Bowls and World Series and NBA Finals, and what's interesting this year is I traveled around to the Heat games when the Heat were on that streak. And the players got to know me because they would see me in the fans, and of course Mike Miller would do the Gator chop, and I would do the Florida State thing, and James would do the Miami U. And the fans in other cities like, what's up with those guys? But I represented the Marlins everywhere, and I had a lot of fun doing it. I'm still having fun doing it. I'll be at the World Series this year too.
Need a lot of fans just like you.
I hope to have more.
Yeah.
You know.
Jose Alvarez is up. Tiger pitcher, and Kohler misses outside. What prompted you to get involved with the fantasy auction?
I've been doing it pretty much since the first year.
You've been a nice supporter of it.
Yeah, and I usually try to bid on it, everything that I think my office staff would like. This year I won I think I won 4 different things. One of them was the dinner. One of them, of course, was the broadcaster. We also had a couple of VIP suites that were donated. One of my favorite ones, which we did again this year, is the blimp ride, the Goodyear blimp.
Yes.
And they didn't have it this year, but they had the game watching party. And we had a huge game watching party at my office where they brought the Billy the Marlin inflatable doll and the cheerleaders, and it was great. It's for a really good cause, and I really believe in it.
Thank you. We have a terrific time, especially being out at the Clevelander in the new ballpark. And
how do you like our view up here?
I love it up here. Actually, tonight, one of the things we won is bottle service to the Clevelander, and I have 50 of my staff sitting down there, and we're going to use what we want in the foundation, the Clevelander bottle service.
Now, what innings are you going out there?
We're only going there like the 8th and 9th.
8th and 9th. Rich, can I leave the 8th and 9th?
So you have my permission. You've been a good boy all season, Tommy. So go play. But just remember, camera 12's out there, so don't get too wild. Austin Jackson is up, and Tom Kohler's control issues.
Well, the last thing he wanted to do was walk the pitcher who's never hit before, the big league level. Jose Alvarez, and he fell behind 3-0 and then just couldn't throw strikes.
Jackson takes outside. And it's 2-1. This is certainly a different ballpark, Lawrence, with the roof open.
Yeah, I was actually talking to some people down below, and I don't think, and I've been to a lot of ballparks, I don't think any of them have a removable, retractable left field. Some have roofs, but I'm trying to think if anybody has a left field that retracts.
Milwaukee has the panels.
Has some panels. They have some in Arizona, but not directly in left field. They're up a little higher.
But none of them have the view of the downtown skyline that we have here in Miami.
And actually, which is nice, not a lot of people know about it. When you get out to the Latin area, there's actually a patio out there. You can walk out and see downtown and actually get outside.
Echeverria whips it over to first in time for the double play. Lawrence Levy, thank you for all that you do with the foundation.
Lawrence.
You're welcome.
Thanks for coming. Now, this you get any funny looks with this yet?
Oh yeah, I've already given like 200 pictures. Oh, that's another thing. When I go around the country wearing this, people are always stopping me, wanting their picture with me, and they call me the orange popsicle.
But you don't wear this with that?
No.
Well, that's probably
keep rocking the red orange, Lawrence.
Okay.
keep coming out. I can't tell you what you mean to us. It's like a sixth man.
Come on in here. Come on. Come on. All right, take him in there. And there goes our Leland there. Cut short this year.
A little escort for Jim Leland into the celebration from Torrey Hunter.
You know what, Rich, he's such an emotional guy. He wanted to let his team enjoy the moment. Torrey Hunter brought him in and say, hey, you got the moonwalk going. What a wonderful character and a tremendous manager who hopefully someday will be in the Hall of Fame.
With all the wins and all the things that he's accomplished. You know, I think people forget that with Jim Leland, just to get to the big leagues, he had to endure an awful lot in the minor leagues as a player and then as a minor league manager. Our Toyota trend, 700 games under Jim Leland, fourth best in the majors since 2006. Coy Hill knocks one into center field. And the Marlins catcher has a base hit, a leadoff hit here at the third. This is the 50th year in professional baseball for Jim Leland.
I'll tell you another thing that people forget about Jim Leland. He saw the best and the worst of the Marlins. 97 World Championship and 108 losses in 1998.
Tom Kohler lays it down. Avila makes the play. Hill is now in scoring position with one out in the third. Closing days on Sunday. The Marlins will take the field for the final time. The Tigers, of course, will be headed to the postseason afterwards. 1:10 start. Pick up a Pepsi 4 for $54 pack. Fans get a 2014 magnetic schedule courtesy of Fox Sports Florida. After the game, all kids can run the bases in the Diamond Dash. Solano now. And a fastball misses up from Jose Alvarez. Rick Porcello, who was slated to start, but Jim Leland in the postseason is going to use him out of the bullpen. And so those of you that were looking forward to see Rick Porcello throw are going to get a chance to see him pitch.
Well, they wanted to get him acclimated to the bullpen because he's their fifth starter. He's had a solid year, a better year this year than he had last year. And so you don't use that fifth starter in postseason, so they just want him to get used to coming out of the bullpen.
Of course, the starter out of the bullpen became a secret weapon for the Giants with Tim Lincecum in his postseason. Solano lashes it foul. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. Two balls, two strikes.
Yeah, not too many teams can place their number 5 starter, a guy who for 5 straight years has won 10 or more games.
With a rotation that the Tigers have trotted out over the last few years, it has always been terrific. Right center, pretty well hit. Dirks lines it up, makes the catch. Hill's not going anywhere at second. Max Scherzer, a bit of a surprise, I guess you'd say. Justin Verlander's been the ace of the staff, but this year it's been Scherzer who got his 21st win Wednesday night in Minnesota. Struck out 10 on Wednesday.
Well, they have, between Verlander and Scherzer, 2 starters with 200 innings and over 200 strikeouts. Anibal Sanchez not far behind. He won't reach the 200 innings. He might reach the 200 strikeouts. He's 6 short of that, and he pitches tomorrow night.
So who's your 1 and your 2 and your 3 if you're the Tigers? If you go by ERA, it's, I mean, Anibal Sanchez is sitting at 2.64. Scherzer has had a terrific year, and Verlander's ERA is higher than those two.
Biggest question right now in the Detroit area. But you'd have to think Scherzer would pitch game 1.
Yeah, 2.90 is Scherzer's ERA, 32 starts.
Then you got a guy who's been an MVP, a Cy Young winner in Verlander. Do you save him for game 3 when you go home?
Verlander 13 and 12 this year. Somebody's beer just blew up down there.
Or do you go with Anibal Sanchez for game 2? Or do you save him at home where he's pitched really well? So those are some decisions that Jim Leyland's going to have to make.
And if you need him, you can always go with Doug Fister, who's 14 and 9 with a 3.68.
And he's gone over 200 innings this year.
So you've got that option. Two and 2. Alvarez. The changeup that darts outside, and because Alvarez has been in the bullpen for a while, his last start in the big leagues was the 16th of August.
Yeah, all of his appearances after that have been out of the bullpen, so you would expect just these 3 innings with Porcello warming up. Talked about Polanco, 2007 with the Tigers, 341 batting average. He had 200 hits that season.
And that was after he had a really nice run with the St. Louis Cardinals and the Phils. You know, you forget when you look at Polanco's career. It started in St. Louis, then to Philly, then to Detroit, then back to Philly. This is his 16th year in the big leagues. And his career average in the big leagues is just 3 ticks under 300. He's a 297 career hitter. Yelich now, he bounced into a fielder's choice in the first. Alvarez has kept Miami off balance. He's given up just 2 hits. Struck out 3, walked 1. Hill at second, Polanco at first, and Alvarez misses. And it's 3-0, and maybe Alvarez doesn't get to that 3-inning threshold if he loses Yelich.
Yeah, it might be a decision. Leyland may say, okay, I got to bring Porcello in. Might have to do it postseason. Middle of an inning to face a tough right-hander.
Well, that right-hander is Giancarlo Stanton. Now, Alvarez handled them in the first. He struck him out. Not a great ball-strike ratio. You saw Miguel Cabrera come to the mound and then look into the dugout. And here he comes. Here comes Jim Leyland. So a little trial here. And a chance to get Porcello acclimated to coming out of the pen. Not only coming out of the pen, but coming into an inning. And so Alvarez leaves. In comes Porcello. Bags loaded. 2 outs. For coming out of the pen in the postseason, Rick Porcello. His 5th year in the big leagues with the Tigers, and as Tommy documented, he's been solid ever since he stepped into the rotation in 2009.
When he was 20 years old. Won 14 games as a 20-year-old.
And this has to feel a bit odd for him because as far as coming out of the bullpen, he had never come out of the bullpen since getting to the big leagues. This is his 2nd relief appearance this year, but no relief appearances coming into the year. Stanton muscles one down the line. It's going to nestle in for a hit. Scoring is Hill right behind him, Polanco. Here comes Yelich on his way to the plate. He'll score.
Boy, that's great base running, great third base coaching, too, by Joe Espada. Remember how deep Peralta was playing Stanton the last time up? He was there again. Stanton didn't hit this ball hard. He got jammed a little bit, so he just dropped it into shallow left field. On the move with 2 out was Christian Yelich from first base. Look at how far Peralta has to come.
And he's not coming very hard.
No, and Joe Espada sees that. Come on. Come on. And Yelich scores easily. Great job on both parts.
Ruggiano fouls one into the catcher's glove. So 3 driven in by Stanton on the double in a 3-0 lead. All of those runs go to Alvarez. Ruggiano, a soft roller. Iglesias at short goes to first in time. Miami on the board and on the board 3 times.
Honoring their top minor league players of the year. Player of the year, Brent Keys, the Florida State League batting champion, and pitcher Anthony DeSclafani. But an outstanding year, both single-A Florida State League Jupiter, and also then a half of the season in Jacksonville, Florida State League All-Star. And I guess you couldn't, first of all, Anthony, really expected a better season. You had 2 fine stops at both the Florida State League level and at Double-A. How'd it go for you this year?
It went really well. I just tried to stay consistent, day in, day out. Just gave it 100% every start, and, things ended up working out. I couldn't be more happy.
What was the adjustment like, Anthony, when you went to the Double-A level?
It's obviously they can hit fastballs, so you're not going to get away with too many pitches over the plate. So just had to make an adjustment. Working on the corners. That was pretty much it. Just making quality pitches.
Brent Keys hit .346 at the Florida State League, breaking the Jupiter record held by Logan Morrison, who was also a former Player of the Year in the Marlins chain. Logan hit .332 back in 2008, and Brent, that's nice company to be in. The ball was fine on the grass for you this year, huh?
Yeah, it was. To be able to break somebody's record like Lomo, great hitter as he is, it was fun. It really was. It was a blast to be out there and be able to have some success in the Florida State League. It was fun.
And Logan, also a lower round pick. You were a 17th round pick, and you already won 2 batting titles, the South Atlantic League and the Florida State League. Is it motivating to have these kind of years when you're coming from a lower round pick?
It is, yeah, definitely. My father has always taught me like a hard work ethic. So I go out and give 110% every day, work my butt off, and I'm happy to have some success.
A nice award before the game here. That must have been neat for both of you guys. Also need to know that last year's winners, in fact, Yelich won it 2 years in a row, and Jose Fernandez was the pitcher of the year last year. These guys are here now.
No, yeah, that's awesome. They're obviously really good players. It'd be awesome to follow in their footsteps. It's still just going to take it one day at a time, and it'd be really cool if we did that. But
what about being here in the park? What do you think about it?
Oh, the park's unreal. I've been here twice before, once with a trade and once with my parents. It's a beautiful park. The Miami skyline's awesome to see. I really can't wait to play here.
All right, Brent, you got a week up in Jacksonville, so your thoughts going into next season?
Just excited to be able to get my feet wet a little bit at the Double-A level. Competition's definitely a little better, even with the small sample size. But yeah, I'm excited to continue to progress through the minor leagues and ultimately put on that big league uniform.
And I know, real excited to be here at Fox Sports Florida with us, right?
Oh yeah, no doubt.
He kept saying, "Is this live? Is that good to see you?" Congratulations, Anthony DeSclafani, Brent Keys, the Marlins minor league players of the year. They had 2 wonderful seasons, both spending time at Single-A and Double-A this year. Guys?
All right, thank you, Craig. And 2 rising stars in the Marlins organization. Miguel Cabrera is at the plate if you've just joined us. The Tigers arriving in South Florida, and for the Marlins and for Cabrera, the first time the 2 have met since Cabrera was traded from the Marlins to the Tigers. They've met in spring training, but not in regular season play. It had to be a little bit interesting for Cabrera to arrive to this ballpark and take a look around. He never had a chance, obviously, to play here. He was long gone when they broke ground.
Lots of family, lots of friends here. He makes his home in Miami.
Cabrera smacks it into center field. And that's a base hit. Now, last year, Cabrera, of course, won the Triple Crown with 44 homers, 139 RBIs, and a .330 average. Look what he's done this year.
The average is better, the home run's the same, and he got a good chance to get to that 139. The problem this year for him has been a guy over in Baltimore by the name of Chris Davis. Chris Davis with 52 home runs. Actually, Davis tied with him in the RBI department at 137. But on his way to his 3rd consecutive batting title.
Don Kelly, his first at bat. He came in to pinch run for Fielder, and he lines out to center.
And by the way, Rich, on the 2 kids that Craig was talking to, Brent Keys, he'll be on his way to the Arizona Fall League to play there. And DeSclafani showing that he's a guy that's a winner. Last year in A-ball in the Toronto organization, he was 11-3. So he's backed that up with another solid year this year.
Johnny Peralta smashed one to deep center field. This is game number 105 for Peralta, and he chops this one to short. Wide throw, but Solano comes off the bag. A rare misfire by Echeverria. And Tom Kohler is sailing with a 3-0 lead. Clinic fourth, Miguel Cabrera carrying on a conversation.
Yeah, he's having a little conversation with one of his 03 teammates, Juan Pierre.
JP going into this last weekend. Now Mike Redmond has said that Pierre...
JP saying, I'm going to bunt on you if I get in the game.
Pierre is going to get a start in this series.
Yeah, he will.
And what may well be his final season.
One of the greatest players you're ever going to be around and one of the most fun guys, Miguel Cabrera.
Morrison takes away. 7 o'clock start tomorrow for Marlins and Tigers, the pregame show. Marlins Live, driven by your South Florida Honda dealers. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine from center field. Final weekend. And Morrison bangs a single into center field. Up comes Danny Echeverria. From America's #1 pregame show comes the all-new Fox Football Daily, featuring an all-star lineup of experts and NFL legends. Everything you love on Sunday, every day of the week. Fox Football Daily, weeknights at 6 Eastern on America's new sports network, Fox Sports 1. Echeverria, a one-hopper. Perez has it. Nice turn by Iglesias in time to get the out. It shows you some of the athleticism of the Cuban shortstop, Jose Iglesias.
Well, that's just a beautiful play. Tough luck for Danny Echeverria, who has hit into a multitude of double plays, but can't fault here. He's trying to find that hole on the right side. One hopper, hits it extremely well. Kelly able to stay on the bag, but watch the footwork of the shortstop, Jose Iglesias. Nicely done. Tough for Echeverria. And people who have followed the Tigers have certainly said with his defense out there, it's made a difference.
They're a better team defensively. Now, if they can get Peralta and his bat in left field, that's all the better. because they've improved themselves so much defensively on the infield. Back to the postseason, once they get to the division series, they'll have Victor Martinez back as their DH. I mean, there's some pretty thick bats through that lineup.
Yeah.
And Torrey Hunter isn't even playing tonight either. You've got Hunter and Martinez sitting out. Fielder had an at bat. Now he's come out of the game.
Yeah, you got a guy who's a 300 career hitter in Victor Martinez.
Tom Hallion rings him up. It's fielder Torrey Hunter making friends. Marlins up 3-0. Baseball on Fox Sports Florida brought to you by Honda. Visit your Honda dealer for great lease and finance deals on fuel-efficient Hondas. By Coventry Healthcare of Florida, lighting the way to better health. And by Hialeah Park, a world of entertainment. Hialeah Park Casino, come and live it, now open. This is a significant moment. That's one of the sons of Prince Fielder, who is the son of Cecil Fielder. And now most people know that those two have not had the best of relationships, but that's great to see.
That's good to see.
Now, the fun thing is watch all of the Tigers come over. Torrey Hunter comes over. Miguel Cabrera comes in, and he can't wait to say hello. Look, there's Miggy. Jim Leland comes over to say hi, and boy, it's terrific to see the Fielder family here in Miami.
Big Cecil can hit him out.
Tom Kohler back to work. Alex Avila, Hernan Perez, and Jose Iglesias. And Kohler throws a strike. Avila lined to center back in the second. Games going on of significance tonight. The Pirates have scored first in Cincinnati. A 2-0 lead for the Pirates. The Cardinals and the Cubs are underway in St. Louis. The Cardinals merely need just one win in that weekend series, or one loss by the Pirates in that weekend series in Cincinnati, and they will have clinched the Central in the National League.
Cardinals and the Braves each with 94 wins.
Luke Conan in the Tigers pen. In the American League, as far as home field advantage, Boston at 96 wins, Oakland at 94, and the Tigers at 93. The A's have lost 2 in a row. The Tigers, of course, in clinching have won 2 straight. Tampa Bay, just an incredible run, and they have themselves in a great spot going into the weekend. They've won 7 straight, 90 and 69, with Cleveland just a game behind them. Avila walks.
Well, Tampa Bay last night in New York, Yankee Stadium, one of the greatest moments you're ever going to see in this game. The way Mariano Rivera was honored, came into the game. They had it pre-planned that Andy Pettitte and Derek Jeter came out after he got 2 outs the next inning, made the call to the bullpen. Hugs at the mound. Just a tremendous scene.
Perez pokes it into right field. And the Tigers have something going here. The leadoff walk to Avila and a single by Hernan Perez. Time for the Just for Men mustache and beard play like a champ profile. Steve Cishek nailing down his 28th consecutive save opportunity on a Wednesday. Since June 8th, he's been one of the best in baseball. An ERA just over 1, a whip under 1, just 9 walks and 51 strikeouts. All right, the Tigers here are near the bottom of their lineup, but you saw the righty up in the bullpen. Victor Martinez is on deck, and here is Iglesias with runners first and second.
There's that 302 lifetime hitter, Victor Martinez.
Kohler misses up. All right, Jose Iglesias defected from Cuba in 2008 while a member of the Cuban junior national team. Signed with the Red Sox as a free agent out of the Dominican Republic. Jim Leland says he's a very instinctive and smart player. And Iglesias coming over from Boston in a 3-way with the White Sox. His father escaped as well, but his mother is still in Cuba. His dad is out. He got out in 2011. And he was scouted and signed by one of the very best scouts, front office personnel with an acute sense of international prospects, and that's Craig Shipley, who was with the Red Sox at the time, is now with the Arizona Diamondbacks.
One of our good friends now with the Arizona Diamondbacks.
If Ship likes you and signs you, you're usually pretty good and turn out just fine in the big leagues.
When I get the scouting reports on different players from Ship, they're usually right on.
Iglesias off the charts defensively. He's 23. Got to Boston for a little bit in 2011 and a little bit in 2012.
Saw a couple of teams in situations like the Tigers losing Peralta to the restricted list. You saw the Texas Rangers in losing Nelson Cruz to the same restricted list. They waited a while, but they picked up Alex Rios to try to bolster some offense. But the offense for Texas is really where they've struggled lately.
Iglesias sprays it, and a backhand flip. Nicely done there by Solano to get that runner at second base.
Yeah, I'm not even sure that Perez, the runner, thought that there would be a play because he didn't slide. He saw Solano come in and field this, and there's the flip. It's a little chancy play, but a good play to keep the double play in order.
You know, one thing that Solano sensed was the runner taking an extended route around him, and what that did, obviously, was slow his progress to first or to second, and gave Solano a chance to get him.
Yeah, Perez had to kind of cut inside, get on the grass.
All right, here's Martinez, and this is another big bat, another run producer. Switch hitting Venezuelan, his 3rd year in Detroit.
He's a guy that they took a little bit of a chance on because he didn't play all of last year. Had left knee surgery, had microfracture surgery.
He was rather large, though, in 2011. He only hit 12 homers, but he drove in 103, had 40 doubles, hit .330. Spent 8 years with the Cleveland Indians. And since the All-Star break, he's been the American League's best. .364. And so Jim Leyland will try to find him some at-bats here in Miami without the designated hitter. Two and 0. At the corners, 1 out, 3-0 Miami on top. Giancarlo Stanton with a 3-run double and has given the Marlins the lead. But Victor Martinez is sitting on a 2-0 pitch. Anibal Sanchez, Nathan Eovaldi.
Tigers making Tom Kohler work here in this 5th inning.
Breaking ball in, 3-1.
Number 4, pretty good pitch.
Full count, 3-2. Oakland tonight is in Seattle. Boston is pounding Baltimore 8-2 in the 4th. And the Rays are losing to Toronto 5-2 in the 5th. Texas 1-0 has scored first at home against the Angels. Bottom of the 1st. 3-2. Runner goes, swinging a foul tip off of Coy Hill.
Big walk-off win for the Rangers last night. Their young middle infielder pinch hitting, Jurickson Profar. Big walk-off home run. Couldn't quite hang on.
Let's see if Iglesias is running again.
Well, the Marlins starting pitching did a terrific job against the Phillies. This last series, 21 innings, gave up just 15 hits and 4 runs.
Runner goes, fly ball left field line. Yelich. And it's out of reach for Yelich. Still 3-2. Iglesias runs again, and it's fouled off. Just reading the news and notes of the day, Eric Wedge informing Seattle he won't return in 2014. He said it was painfully obvious that he wasn't going to be able to move forward with the Mariners. He said sometimes people just don't see things the same way, and things just don't work out. And it wasn't for a lack of trying. I wanted it to work, but it's not going to. So it doesn't sound like it was.
Doesn't sound like it was health related.
No. He said that he met with Jack Zarincic, Seattle's general manager, and he got to a point where it was painfully obvious that I wasn't going to be able to move forward with the organization.
We could read a lot into that. Maybe things he wanted to do that Zarincic didn't want to do.
Zarincic was given an endorsement by the ball club earlier this week towards next year. Yelich lining up, runner tags. Avila is going to start and then stop, and Yelich's throw is cut. And so Tom Kohler is 2/3 of the way out of digging himself out of this first and second and nobody out spot. Now the Marlins, of course, were in the middle of big news, and this was probably 2.5 hours before game time when it was reported that Larry Beinfest had been relieved of his duties. Beinfest, longtime Marlins president with Marlins baseball operations. He was promoted to president in 2007, was the general manager coming in from Montreal in 2002, and of course the world champion in 2003.
And I think many people around baseball realize they certainly respect Larry Beinfest as a baseball man, and they realize at times put in a position of trading players and receiving young players, and sometimes receiving a lot of good talent. Sometimes it doesn't always work out, but having to make those decisions not easy.
Having to make the trades not easy. And the team that probably has hurt the Marlins more than any in terms of bang for the buck and return on trade are the Tigers. Ball and a strike. Austin Jackson, Detroit's center fielder, is flied out and bounced into a double play. Kohler walked Avila, gave up a single to Perez. Has a couple of outs since. But this one's into center field for a hit. Ruggiano picks it up on a hop, and Austin Jackson drives in the first run of the night for the Tigers. FPL brings you scores from around the league, playoff implications. That Blue Jay lead is now 6-2. The Texas game is now in the second. Cincinnati now has a run, and the Cardinals and the Cubs are scoreless. Pittsburgh 3 back, Cincinnati 4 back. Cincinnati's out of the division race. Pittsburgh's hanging at the very edge, but of course home field advantage in the wild card game is on the line in that Reds Pirates series. Reds wearing their Los Rojos jerseys tonight.
Now, the crazy thing about that series, they're going to play each other in the play-in game. Whether it's in Cincinnati or Pittsburgh depends on how that series goes. So I was thinking about it today. The bottom line, it doesn't matter how that series goes, it just matters who wins the 4th game.
It's not like they don't know each other. Obviously, they've been in the same division. They've played 18, or will have played 18 or 19 times going into the wild card game. So they should be able to throw a quality starter out there. If it comes down to Sunday and you've got your ace lined up for home field advantage, do you throw him? Because you know you're going to be playing.
It's a great question.
In 2 days.
I would say a lot of it depends on how they feel about playing in the other team's park, number one. And then you go from there.
Kohler strikes out Andy Dirks, and the Tigers have a run. But the Marlins have the lead halfway through in Miami.
Está disponible en español vía Zap y es presentado por Hialeah Park Casino. Abierto ahora.
Marathon scoreboard on the line. 3 runs on 4 hits. The big hit, the 3-run double by Giancarlo Stanton. Austin Jackson drove in the Tigers' only run. And Jim Leyland dips into the bullpen again and brings out Luke Puckonen.
Good numbers for Puckonen out of the bullpen. Got a pretty good splitter. That's a pitch he likes to put hitters away with.
Tigers bullpen has a tough act to follow. The starters are splendid. An ERA of 3.46 out of the starting rotation. The Penn's ERA is right around 4. Kohler opens the bottom of the 5th. So this is it's a rotation that's used to getting deep, and that has had a lot of success, especially since mid-season, early July. The rotation's ERA is down even closer to 3.07. They lead the American League with 76 wins. The rotation leads the American League in ERA and leads the American League in strikeouts.
Where the Tigers will get in trouble in postseason is if Jim Leyland doesn't get 6-7 innings, maybe even more, out of his starters. Feel pretty good about Joaquin Benoit at the end, which was a concern early in the year for the Tigers.
Kohler sends one to right. Dirks out there, makes the catch. Season tickets for 2014 can be yours with a deposit on a Marlins season ticket plan. Take advantage of flexible and easy payment options. Get the best seats available. Enjoy all the benefits of being a season ticket rewards plus holder. Make sure you have the best seats for the Marlins in 2014. 1-877-MARLINS, the number to call. The Tigers last year opened the postseason with a very entertaining 5-game series in the division series, a win over Oakland. At Game 5, Justin Verlander was dominant, and the Tigers beat Oakland 6-0. And then the Tigers swept New York. Solano in the hole, and that gets under the glove of Iglesias. But it seems like, Tommy, the last 2 times the Tigers have been to the World Series, last year, where they were swept by the Giants, and when they were beaten by the St. Louis Cardinals, they had to endure a long layoff because of a short ALCS before the start of the World Series. I mean, they finished off the Yankees in a 4-game sweep on October 18th and didn't start the World Series until the 24th.
Well, that's almost a week.
And that's what they're going to endure here from Sunday to Friday.
So you would imagine they'll try to get, if it's in Oakland, get to Oakland early, have maybe some inter-squad games, get some workouts, get acclimated. But we've talked about it so much. It's not easy, especially in a game where you're so used to playing every day.
Now, every team in the postseason, except the teams that play in the wild card, are going to endure this. But what for the Tigers has happened in those 2 World Series years is their opponent didn't have to endure that. Their opponent generally went to the wire in their league championship series and didn't have a week between the LCS and the World Series. Conan misses in. Placido Polanco with Yelich on deck.
Good little hit and run situation here with Solano, Polanco. 1-1 count, a 2-run lead.
Pitch out.
Thinking a hit and run.
Conan out of Wheaton, Illinois. There's Joe Espada. Conan, University of North Carolina, had Tommy John surgery as a freshman.
We haven't talked a lot. We do as the season goes on. And so many people, obviously, with the Marlins have had to endure a struggling season. Obviously, we talk about Mike Redmond, but I think his coaching staff has been just terrific. The job that Perry Hill has done with the infielders. You've seen Echeverria shine. You've seen improvement in Solano at second base.
Polanco lifts it to right.
You've got Joe Espada at third base, who I think does one of the best jobs of third base coaches as far as sending runners, holding runners, relaying things, working with the outfielders. Chuck Hernandez, we've talked about numerous times, and the things that he's dealt with a young pitching staff. Rob Leary, who's been Red's right-hand man on the bench, and it's really been tough to talk about John Pearson, who kind of came into a tough situation as the field coordinator in the minor leagues. And now he's thrust upon a lot of young hitters, some struggling at times.
That's the one position on the staff you would expect to be filled.
Yes.
Next year. Especially in a year where the Marlins are hopeful to add offense to a team that's been starved for it all season long in historical proportions.
Got Reed Cornelius out there in the bullpen. He takes care of all the bullpen guys. Charts everything, relays messages.
You saw Yelich's reaction. Look how far out that pitch was. A swing and a miss, and it's 0-2. You wonder, Christian Yelich, 3-4 years down the line, what the reaction would be from that. As a young player, your first go around in the big leagues, you generally just nod and take it and then move on to the next pitch. And umpires appreciate that. They know that they've missed it once they get a video of the game and get graded on their performance.
They'll say, hey, that young kid didn't say a whole lot. I'll remember that.
Ball in the dirt, it's 1-2. This is one area that you talked about Solano taking off towards second, where the Tigers, they have not fared all that well, and that's throwing out opposing base stealers. They've caught only 13% of opposing runners this year. They've caught 19 of 124.
And as a team, they don't run a lot, only 35 steals all year.
And they thought Solano was on the move. 2-2. 6 years as a minor league catcher, 10 years as a minor league manager before Tony La Russa gave him his first big league job with the White Sox. Did he go? Yes, he did. Yelich strikes out, and the Marlins are done here in the 5th. On to the 6th. 3-1 Fish.
Look at these guys' numbers, man. That's like PlayStation. That's like PlayStation numbers. Look at that. I thought he was playing a little bit too deep. Don't you think he was playing a little bit too deep? With me, I don't know. You know what it is? It's this win.
Can't play maybe too deep.
You know, yeah, exactly. And they probably feel like they win because his roof is open.
Yeah. Because when it was open earlier, it carried him.
Yeah. But that was a really good jump. Nice jump on that ball.
All mic'd up. Talking about Miguel Cabrera's numbers to begin with. I think 1 year, Joe Espada is going to be a major league manager.
You read my mind. I was going to ask you. I was going to say major league manager sometime.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Cabrera line to right and then single to center. Smokes one to right. Stanton after it. It's off the wall. Stanton has it. Cabrera is only going to get one. Stanton with a good throw. And Cabrera looking out at right field. Maybe he did think it was out. Now he's going to come out of the ball game. Still well loved here.
And
as he should be.
And can just flat out hit. He wasn't going to test that groin. Has been sore.
No, and they don't want him to.
And he's also in his mind saying this is a pretty big ballpark.
That might be a silver lining for the whole week off for the Tigers. A chance to give Cabrera a week.
Fastball down, away. He takes it away. Thought he might have number 45 on the year. Then realized Stanton was getting it in a hurry. Yeah, just the fact that he hits all those home runs, 44 this year. Comerica Park, a pretty big park too.
Matt Tuiasosopo at first base. There's a look at Tuiasosopo of the famed Tuiasosopo family.
Pretty good sports family up in the Northwest.
Yes.
Tom Kohler tonight, Rich, hasn't quite had the same command that we saw the last two starts. Be kind of off and on. But still, he's given up just the one run and has a 2-run lead. Brian Webb loosened up last inning, so he's not going to take too long here.
Kohler in the 6th. Kelly waits. Tuiasosopo runs. It's lined down the right field line, hooking and foul. There's a look at Tuiasosopo. His father, Manu, a defensive lineman for many years with the Seattle Seahawks, settled in Seattle. His brother Marcus was a terrific quarterback at the University of Washington, and then with the Oakland Raiders, some time with the Jets. Matt was a first-round pick of the Mariners. He's running, ball in the air, hit pretty well. Stanton back to the track, drifts just shy of the wall and makes the catch. Don Kelly gave it a ride. How's the ball carrying tonight, Hut, compared to a roof closed?
I don't think the roof open or closed would have affected either of the last two. A lot of the effect we see when balls are hit into left field. Can't tell much difference tonight. A lot of times if the wind's swirling around and with the rolling windows open, if the wind shoots balls out that way.
Here is Peralta.
But I would expect with no rain in the area, we would see more of the same tomorrow night.
There's been some consternation around baseball. The fact that the Rangers, as you mentioned, we're going to welcome and will welcome Nelson Cruz back with open arms. They get to the postseason. Tigers, obviously, with Peralta activated today, they have postseason plans for him. Very different scenario than the San Francisco Giants and Melky Cabrera. Some have said that one of the things baseball needs to add to a performance-enhancing drug suspension is no postseason, which would harm both the player but specifically the team and put some of the onus on a player's misdeeds on the team.
I totally agree with that.
Hit well, right center field, long run, and Stan's not going to get there. It's over his head, into the corner. Tuiasosopo around third, and he's steaming home. He'll score. And Johnny Peralta is back with a bang. He had an all-star year. He made the all-star team, and despite missing the 50 games, that's his 30th double.
As we mentioned before, always considered an offensive-oriented shortstop and can drive the ball extremely well to the opposite field. Tuiasosopo looking over his shoulder, should be picking up the third base coach, and scores pretty easily.
And Mike Redmond coming out. Tom Kohler giving up a run on a couple of hits here in the 6th. And with one out, Mike Redmond asked for the baseball. Ryan Webb comes in. All your other favorite Florida sports teams with the Fox Sports Florida Girls. Join the conversation online with Jordana and Annalie by liking them on Facebook and following them on Twitter and Instagram. Tommy Hutton searching for the Fox Sports Florida Girls app, which is yet to come out for the new iPhone.
That's not come out yet.
There's Ryan Webb. In this ball game, the Marlins jumped to a 3-0 lead. Giancarlo Stanton with a 3-run double. Tigers chipped away with 1 in the 5th, 1 here in the 6th. Tom Kohler is gone. Ryan Webb in his place. Peralta the runner at second. RBI double. Miguel Cabrera singled off the right field wall to open the inning. Matt Tuiasosopo pinch ran for him and has scored. So the Tigers have run Miguel Cabrera out there, Prince Fielder out there. Cabrera had 3 at bats, 2 for 3. Fielder walked and was removed from the game. Into right field. That's a hit. Late start at second by Peralta, and he'll be held. Stanton came up almost assuming that the runner was going to score, turned his back on the infields, and runners are at the corners. There's one out. That was an odd play for a lot of reasons.
Well, you have everybody trying to get used to a ballpark they've never been. Tom Brookins, the third base coach for the Tigers, knows that Peralta doesn't run all that well, but yes, Stanton was pretty much conceding that run. You could tell by the way he came up with it, and was just going to throw it back into second base, but all of a sudden comes toward the plate when he saw that Peralta was being held at third.
Peralta obviously has been out of the game for the 50-game suspension and did not get a good read on that ball at second at all. Hernan Perez with one out. With Peralta now at third, Avila at first. Foul tip off Coy Hill. Well, that run at third is Tom Kohler's. If Ryan Webb can get out of the inning and keep the lead, Kohler can stay lined up for win number 5.
Perez this year in Double-A and Triple-A combined hit 300.
Webb's 0-1. It's in. Ball and a strike and an out. One and two.
Good two-seam fastball by Ryan Webb. 66th appearance for Webb. He's been able to stay reasonably healthy, as has Mike Dunn, as has Chad Qualls, Steve Cishek.
And Webb burying that pitch in on the hands of Perez. A nice out to get. Now there are 2 outs.
Yeah, you think about it, that's one thing in the bullpen. The bullpen arms have been pretty healthy all year. Well, he really got Perez to chase that two-seamer.
Now Iglesias. The breaking ball at the letters.
A.J. Ramos, another in the bullpen who's been healthy, made 67 appearances.
Of course, with the win the other night, the Tigers clinching, the Indians with a 7-0 lead in Minnesota early in that ball game, bottom of the second. So the Indians show no signs of letting up. The Rays are in trouble tonight, down 6-2 in the 7th. So if the Rays lose and the Indians win, the Indians will have tied the Rays. Tapper back to the mound, and Webb gets out of the inning on a lob to first, preserves the lead, and the Marlins go to the bottom of the 6th in a 3-2 ball game. Fish on top of Detroit. Time now for the freeze cam, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
And the pitcher not made the play. Hit to center. Ball deli. Going back. Still going back. It's out of here. Out of here.
Welcome to the big leagues. Miguel Cabrera. His first home run, a walk-off shot. Look at the comparison. He hasn't missed much. That was from this week. A little bigger, a little thicker. Maybe a little more power now as well. Giancarlo Stanton, Luke Pucconen, and a fastball zings outside. Bottom of the 6th with Stanton, Ruggiano, and Morrison. Don Kelly moves across the diamond, and Tuiasa Sopo stays in the game. He's at first.
That's fun seeing that swing from Miguel Cabrera. I mean, everybody knew that he could hit even at that age.
Great to hear your call on that, Hud. Welcome to the big leagues, you and Len. Nicely done. A strike to Stanton.
A couple of gamers, a couple of guys who can have fun, a couple of guys who know how to play.
Stanton, it's a high fly ball to left. Now this is Peralta, and so he's just getting his legs under him out in left field. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Rich, thank you very much. Before the game here tonight, the Marlins honored Archbishop McCarthy High School. The Mavericks coming off a record 4th straight state championship. Rich Bielski is their head coach. That's pretty nice company there, and a few guys in this game tonight had a part of your program, but congratulations. How do you win 4 straight, Coach?
Well, let me tell you, it's special. We're surrounded with, some great players, great coaches, former World Series champion, Alex Fernandez has really done an amazing job, putting our program together. And when you have especially, talented kids like Nick Castellanos, who is now a part of the, the Major League team with the Tigers, and all-star catcher Alex Avila, just...
They played for you recently, within a few years ago.
Yes, Nick graduated just 2010. I was talking to Rick Butner, my pitching coach here, saying, just 3 years ago, it seems like not that long ago, he was on this side of the ropes with us. Now he's on the other side, and we're watching him hit BP with, Miguel Cabrera and Prince Fielder, and it's amazing. It's a great experience for us and our kids.
Yeah, you guys got a chance to be on the field before the game, honored by the ball club, and when you got a connection like Alex Fernandez is one of your assistants helping out, he's able to bring some special guests every now and then to see your team. Like Miguel Cabrera came out for practice.
Yes, Miguel Cabrera joined us for practice. Obviously Alex Avila, Nick Castellanos, they're bringing their buddies over to hit BP at the field, and the kids.
Miguel took BP with you?
Yes, he did. He lost quite a few baseballs. I'll tell you that. We were searching for him in places we never had to search before. But it was a lifetime memory for the kids and a great experience, and we appreciated him coming out and sharing his time with us.
Congratulations to the Mavericks. Is there another future major leaguer or two coming out, you think?
I certainly hope so. We have some talented ball players, and this is a great experience. We're very blessed that Marlins had us here tonight, and we certainly hope to produce some more big leaguers.
Good luck in the drive for 5. Is that what they're saying around there?
Yeah, I like that. That's catching on. We might just use that. Sounds good.
All right, Rich. Thanks a lot, Rich Bielski, head coach. What a program! 4 straight state championships. They had been tied with Westminster Christian with 3 titles until winning number 4 in May. Guys,
powerhouse high school baseball in Florida.
Dynasty. Very great to see Alex Fernandez out here tonight, too. A chance to talk to him. I know he wanted to see Jim Leland.
Morrison lined a single to center his last time up. 2 outs here in the 6th. Pedro Alvarez is homered, and Pittsburgh now leads Cincinnati 4-1. Bottom 6. Meanwhile, the Cardinals off to a good start at home, as they have a chance to clinch the division outright. They clinched at least a tie for the division. They have a 3-0 lead over the Cubs in the third. Texas had a 1-0 lead. The Angels have scored 1-1, bottom 3.
I think in that game last night that Texas won on the walk-off home run by Profar, I believe in one inning Texas made 4 errors. Too often do you end up winning a game when you make 4 errors in one inning.
Morrison walks. So a 2-out walk. Morrison trots to first. Here comes Echeverria. The Rangers and the Angels were supposed to play a 7:05 game tomorrow, but with heavy rain supposed to hit on Saturday night, they've pushed the start time tomorrow to 11:05 Central.
Wow. That's a quick turnaround from a night game tonight.
Showers and thunderstorms expected to move into the area early Saturday afternoon and grow more severe throughout the rest of the day, improving late Sunday morning or early Sunday afternoon. To short, Iglesias goes down to get it, and Echeverria bounces into a force out. Pitch done in the 6th to the 7th, 3-2 Miami.
SAP por Coventry Healthcare of Florida.
In Miami, Ryan Webb and the Fish holding a 1-run lead over the Tigers. And for the Marlins, opening up this final weekend of play against the American League Central champs, the Tigers come in headed to the postseason. 3-game stop here in Miami, and then their next opponent, a Friday matchup for the start of the division series.
Brian Pena is going to pinch hit here. You know, this in this year, Rich, of first time having an interleague game interleague series all the time. This is the last interleague series of the year.
And I know Jim Leyland wasn't all that pleased with having to bring a playoff-bound team in here. But somebody has to play an interleague series, and there's no way that the schedule makers who make the schedule somewhat, June, July of the year previous. The Marlins schedule for next year is out. There's no way they can figure out who the 2014 postseason teams are going to be and say, all right, I think that team's going to win, that team's going to win, that team's going to win. So let's not have them play that last series.
And Detroit, by the way, has the best record against the National League this year, 12-5.
A one-hopper. Solano fires to first in time to get Pena.
Did you see the scene the other night, Rich, with Todd Helton's last game at Coors Field?
It's pretty surreal to step up and homer. Peyton Manning was there.
I mean,
his whole family was there.
Against Jake Peavy, too. I mean, it wasn't against any light tossing call up in September.
Mike Dunn in Miami's bullpen. Austin Jackson up there right now. To right, Stanton in, now back, and makes the catch. Save the date for the 2014 Miami Marlins winter warm-up presented by Metro PCS at Marlins Park on Saturday the 15th. Purchase single game tickets for the 2014 season. Select your seat for season tickets and mini plans. Get autographs from Marlin players. Enjoy games and activities for the entire family. Marlins.com, place to go for more information. Andy Dirks. 0 for 3 tonight. Dirks getting the start in right field.
Done a pretty good job since about the middle of August. Dirks has been hitting over 300.
Tomorrow night, familiar face, familiar name, Anibal Sanchez. Coming off a real nice run last year and a terrific season this year.
Signed through 2017. Just looking back on the Tigers, they've really taken charge in interleague play. Last 8 years, they're 93-50 in interleague play.
Grounded to short, Echeverria on to first in time. And a nice job by Ryan Webb. He bailed him out in the 6th and mows him down in the 7th. Wars geeks with their toys and their
Isn't it amazing?
lightsabers.
People will bring things like lightsabers and
Stuff
toys
like that.
and stuff to. Oh.
How do you like it?
You've had that since you were how old?
How you like me now?
I'm gonna mess with a lightsaber.
How you like me now? See, it even makes. Listen to this.
See, those are fancier than the ones I bought for my boys.
How long did those last? Not long, huh? There it is. This was supplied by John Sosa, our producer, and Star Wars aficionado, and a self-acclaimed geek. I guess it would be proclaimed.
I believe John Sulzer has one of those in every color.
Evan Reed into the ball game for the Tigers. Coy Hill at the plate for the Marlins, and Reed misses with ball one. Reed becomes pitcher number 4 for Jim Leland. Jose Alvarez started. Rick Porcello actually came out of the pen as the Tigers try to prep him for his role as reliever in the postseason. Luke Buchanan then followed Porcello for the last 2 innings.
Wouldn't be surprised if even Sunday we could see Porcello come out of the bullpen. A few years ago, Evan Reed in the Marlins organization in Jacksonville, 2010. A little bit with Jupiter next year.
Split his year last year between Jacksonville and New Orleans. AT&T Rewind. Brought to you by AT&T Uverse. Little rewind to 1997. And of course, Jim Leland, the skipper. Edgar Renteria scoring Craig Counsell. And for Leland, a guy that had come so close in Pittsburgh to getting to a World Series. Remember, the Pirates were bounced in 90, 91, and 92 in the National League Championship Series, coming so close. The 92 team had, what, a 9th inning lead. It was 2-0 or 3-0 before the Braves came storming back to win. A Twitter poll: will the 2013 Tigers break this Tigers world title drought? Not Detroit's, but the Tigers. Juan Pierre's up there right now, and Pierre unfortunately doesn't have Miguel Cabrera to toy with at third. He was telling Cabrera how he was going to bunt. Cabrera started the game, went 2 for 3.
One of those series, Rich, if it looks like the Tigers will match up against Oakland. Nationally, that won't be an attractive series. But that'll be a good series, especially the way Oakland's been playing.
It was a great series last year.
Yeah.
In the division series. It went 5 games. Pierre battling up there with 1 out.
A good offense. Both teams with terrific offense. Might give the edge to the Tigers starters. But I think you might give the edge to the Tigers starters against anybody.
Oakland's got something going though. They've got that magic. A lot of guys contributing. Josh Donaldson having an MVP type year. Pierre sends it in the gap, shallow left center, and that's another issue. You got to make sure that Johnny Peralta doesn't run over Austin Jackson.
You know what Oakland has going, Rich? They have that sewage thing going.
The problem is, it's in their own dugout.
I know.
It's not the visitors' dugout.
There's something about it. It's got them going.
It's the home dugout. Yeah, that much like the Marlins' old home, that's a place that, although it has had some really magical moments, its time has come and gone. Solano.
Chad Qualls getting ready for the 8th inning.
It was a 2-0 lead the Pirates had against the Braves in the 9th inning in Game 7 in '92. Of course, the Braves scored 3 times in the bottom of the 9th and went on to the World Series. And that was the last hurrah for those Pirates until this year. Last winning season until this year. Jim Leyland came so close. The Pirates, a small market, couldn't afford the Bonillas and the Bonds. Leyland would stay on during the decline. He would manage in Pittsburgh for 11 years. And that one season with the Rockies, and then the Marlins, as you pointed out, the high and the low. 97 the high, 98 the low.
I think people forget too that one season he had in Denver. That was an awful season for Leland as well. Then he took some time.
Well, he certainly had a profound effect on the manager across the diamond, Mike Redmond. 3-2 pitch, Solano in the hole. Iglesias, quick release, and the catch and tag. Tuiasosopo applies the tag. There's a little of that defense we've heard about with Iglesias. Still 3-2 Miami.
Hey, let's go to the 3rd inning and see what happened. Sets up the whole situation for Giancarlo. They make a pitching change. Rick Porcello comes in. Ball gets in on Stanton. He got jammed. Most impressive thing about this bases clearing double is Yelich scoring all the way from first. Stanton with 3 RBIs. has 61 on the year. Austin Jackson with a base hit, driving in a run, giving the Tigers their first. Then in the 6th inning, how about Miggy, his 2nd hit of the game? Thought it might have been out, but it hits at the base of the fence down there, the right field line. Tuiasosopo pinch running, and he comes in to score on the Peralta 2-base hit. That's been the scoring. It's 3-2. Marlins still hold on to the lead.
And the bullpen, especially, well, the bullpen essentially, Ryan Webb. Webb bailed Kohler out of trouble in the 6th and then worked to 1-2-3-7. Chad Qualls takes the ball, and here's Tuiasosopo, as you saw, ran for Cabrera, gets his first at bat.
He's a guy that's played a lot of games in the minor leagues. Talked about Ed Lucas for a good part of this year and all the time Ed spent in the minor leagues. Tuiasosopo, close to 900 career games in the minors.
Well, Seattle drafted him as a shortstop. There's Jose Veras.
Another little Marlins connection. You know, and talking about many of the Tigers who've worn the Marlins uniform, Jose Veras.
Matt also was a football player. In fact, he was going to go to Washington to play football. Fouls it at the plate. I told you I had one brother, Marcus, who got to the NFL as a quarterback, the Raiders and the Jets. Zach, also a college football player. His father was just a tremendous college player at UCLA before going on to a long and very nice NFL career. His brother-in-law, Micah Owings.
Who knew?
Who knew? That's what happens when you get a long at bat. You get deeper and deeper.
Plenty of time for research.
You get deeper and deeper into the bio.
Getting deeper and deeper into the bio?
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I guess we could go back to when the Tuiasosopos had settled in Woodinville, and young Matt was playing for the Woodinville West Little League team. Got deep into the Little League tournament.
Couldn't hold back from that swing, though. Never did that in Little League.
That's good, because we were just about out of information on Matt Tuiasosopo. Of course, like cold hard fact, Tigers in interleague play have been outstanding for a while. This season, look what they've done against the National League East.
Wow. 11-2, outscoring the East 90-26.
Since 2006, there's a pop-up that's going to bring Polanco. Oh, he reached and got it! Placido Polanco. How about that?
Just showing up to his old team. That's a great play by Polanco. He gets to the wall, embraces himself. He knew right where he was. He also said the roof's open. That ball may come back to me. He went to get it.
Oh! He got it. Wow! Wow!
Joe Espada is mic'd up in our postgame show, Marlins Live. You'll hear Joe Espada's greatest hits and his mixtape from today. Here's Peralta. Well, Peralta has swung the bat well. He had a blast to center that was caught just shy of the track. That was back in the 2nd, and then doubled back in the 6th. So Qualls has a couple outs. Is 2-0 to Peralta. On a hop, Polanco knocks it down. Tiger fans saw a lot of that. Placido Polanco, a terrific catch and a nice play to finish the 8th. And earlier, Craig Minervini had a chance to catch up with the head coach at Archbishop McCarthy.
Yeah, it's fun for him to see that. Castellanos has gotten in some games. Born and still lives in Davie, Florida. So this is fun for him to come into this double switch. Jose Veras comes in to pitch. And you know what? When you're a high school kid at that school and you're watching Alex Avila and Castellanos, boy, that's a great feeling, because you think someday you're going to get that opportunity.
Jose Veras, former Marlin. He's got Placido Polanco, Christian Yelich, and Giancarlo Stanton.
Actually began the season, Veras did. Appeared in 42 games with the Astros. And with Houston this year, early in the year, certainly not many opportunities, but he had 19 saves.
Veras misses up. He thought that was a strike. He might have been right. It's 2-1. So a 3-2 lead for Mike Redmond and the Fish. Told you that Jim Leyland had a profound effect on Redmond. Redmond getting to the big leagues in '98. Other guys that have come off of Leyland's managerial tree, so to speak.
It'll be interesting to talk to Red after this series to find out any discussion and conversations he's had with Jim Leyland, who certainly can talk to him about the ups and downs.
We saw Gene Lamont, who's been by his side for a while. Lamont managed in the big leagues. He's the bench coach here in Detroit. Lloyd McClendon is the hitting coach.
Also a big league manager.
Terry Collins. Guy that got his start working for Jim Leyland. Polanco's liner. Perez on a hop on the first in time. So with one out, Yelich comes up. If you want to order food directly from your smartphone or upgrade your seats for the ball game instantly from the palm of your hand, just download the MLB.com at the ballpark mobile app for these features and more, and you can check in through the app to earn free tickets. Download the free MLB.com at the ballpark app today.
These kinds of games, certainly no stranger to the Marlins. The Marlins are on a stretch of 15 straight games where they've scored 4 runs or less. A lot of one-run games, a lot of close games.
Yelich lashes that one into the seats.
Well, the last time the Marlins played, as Steve Cishek gets ready, played the Tigers here in South Florida was back in '02. They made a couple of trips to Detroit, one to Tiger Stadium and one to Comerica.
One-two. Breaking ball bounced up the middle into center field. Yelich has a base hit.
Sometimes you catch a break. Every once in a while you'll hit a ball like that and it'll hit just the side of the mound and kick over to one of the middle infielders. You realize that bases clearing double by Giancarlo was his first hit this year, producing 3 runs, first 3 RBI hit. He has not had a 3-run homer this year.
Stan takes a breaking ball, and it's 0-1. The doubles down the left field line. He got that 3rd RBI on some terrific hustle by Yelich, who was at first, and some apprehension by Peralta in left, getting his feet wet in left field. He kind of approached the ball very cautiously.
You realize, Rich, if the Marlins can hang on and win this game, it would be their first win with the roof open.
0-13. One and two. Things growing late for the Rays in the 9th in Toronto. Down to their last 2 outs and down 6-2 to the Blue Jays. The Indians just keep steaming along, 7-1 over Minnesota, top 5. If those scores hold, Cleveland and the Rays will wake up tomorrow tied. Texas has a 3-1 lead over the Angels, and that's in the 5th.
Well, I tell you, with the struggles of the Indians closer, Chris Perez, they're just trying to keep a lead big enough where Terry Francona does not have to make that decision who to come into the game in a closing situation.
1-2. Stanton pulls it foul. Hit a long ways down the line, high and hooking and foul.
Well, you knew it had home run distance. The breaking ball just kind of flattened and stayed inner part of the plate. And Giancarlo leaning, but he knew it was going to go foul.
Well, the back of the bullpen for the Tigers is very good, and it's been good for a while. Joaquin Benoit has got an ERA of 1.59, 7th among American League relievers. '24 of 25 in save opportunities. Stanton just got a piece of it and fouls it off. Atlanta shut out the Phillies 1-0. Chris Medlin will end the season at 15-12 as he has a nice effort against the Phils. Cliff Lee pitched really well, but it wasn't enough. He didn't get any support at all. Medlin 8 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 7 strikeouts. Cliff Lee struck out 13 tonight. Gave up a run on 3 hits. Chris Johnson homered.
Game played in a crisp 2 hours and 7 minutes.
Johnson went 1 for 3, is hitting .324.
How about Kimbrel with his 50th save?
Dan Uggla got the start in that ball game at second base. Uggla was 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts.
Batting average down to 179.
B.J. Upton is hitting a robust 184. It'll be really interesting to see Freddie Gonzalez lineup when the postseason starts for Atlanta. Good battle here. Another 1-2, and Veras bounces it up. In, and away. Two. Swing and a miss. So Veras wins the battle. 2 outs, bottom of the 8th. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Rich, there's a story out of Havana today that is quite startling. Associated Press, the headline is that Cuba will let athletes sign with foreign teams. Now, this is according to a communist newspaper as well, and the Associated Press, that as long as players would fulfill commitments in the, quote, off-season, November to April, play in international tournaments, play in Cuba's league, which might be difficult to do both if you're a major league player, as the runner goes there, and is safe. The story is that they will allow athletes to sign with other sports leagues in other cities, and this is a real big story, breaking their long-standing policy. Major League Baseball says The impact of this will be determined. That they'll still have to look at this and abide by, of course, any U.S. government regulations. But this could make it a little bit easier, instead of having players defect, to actually maybe even get on a plane and work out a deal with a team potentially. Back to you.
And, you know, it's interesting, having been around the Cuban national team for a while, implementing that is going to be tough, because the Cuban season does run.
Well, it would certainly affect their season.
Well, the Cuban season runs opposite the major leagues. It runs from end of September through February or March, and it's about a 95-game season. They don't play in the summer. But
I think it would be hard for guys to make the total commitment for teams over here.
I would agree.
If they played both.
I would agree. And how do you enforce that if a player leaves Cuba to play in the big leagues? How do you get him back?
Been a battle out there for Jose Veras. Darren Downs getting loose. And by the way, the stolen base by Christian Yelich is 10th. He's 10 for 10. Billy Hamilton. Heck, Christian Yelich is 10 out of 10.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. Luciano takes a strike. If it in fact opens the gates wide open and Cuban players are allowed to just go and play in the major leagues or sign with major league teams just like that, then there will be a huge influx of talent. Count 3-2.
By the way, in that Pittsburgh-Cincinnati game, A.J. Burnett, 8 innings, 5 hits. He's given up just the 1 run, has 6 strikeouts. Marlon Byrd with a big game, too, for the Pirates. That's been a nice acquisition for them.
Ruggiano backhanded there. Perez throw to first in time to get him. And that saved the run for sure. Yelich would have scored. Hernan Perez with a terrific play over the middle for the Tigers to the 9th. 3-2 Miami. And if Steve Cishek can shut the door, Marlins Live, brought to you by Checkers, will come after 8.5 innings of play. Tom Kohler on the mound. He's hoping for a win. Miggy back in Miami, and Joe Espada all mic'd up. Steve Cishek. You go back to Wednesday night in a 3-2 ball game. Cishek came in to face the Phils, and his 28th consecutive save. That a club record.
And overall, trying to make it 34 with a save here tonight.
There's the active streak with Houston Street right behind. Angels have tied Texas 3-3 in the 5th. Avila lined out, walked, singled, liner left field, falls, kicks off of Yelich, drops it, picks it up, but Avila with a big turn at first holds on. Yelich at the very least got a piece of it, then almost kicked it. The Tigers have the tying run on at first base. This is on the way down after it bounced off of him.
Avila with his second hit tonight. He's 2 for 3.
Ramon Santiago. Santiago pinch hitting here in the 9th. Now the Dominican Republic. Switch hitter. And a guy that's been a long time Tiger. Got to the big leagues with the Tigers, spent a couple seasons with Seattle.
He's been in their organization 15 years.
Breaking ball from Cishek, a strike. 1-2. Cleveland is hammering Minnesota. The Indians just can't be slowed down right now. Boston wiping out Baltimore 11-3. Pittsburgh is about to finish off Cincinnati 4-1, bottom 9 in Cincinnati. That's a swing, and so he got hit by the pitch, but he swung at it. Jim Leland comes out.
A lot of good things happened with that because he was hit by the pitch, a dead ball. So Avila, the runner, can't advance. If it's a straight wild pitch.
He definitely swung at it, and it definitely hit him. You swing at it, it hits you, it's a strike.
Don't know if I've ever seen a guy swing at a pitch that badly.
Check him.
Then hit him.
He goes back to first.
But the runner has to go back to first because hit batter's a dead ball.
So that's, I mean, you talk about everything going right. You get the strikeout. Iglesias is up. Counts 0-1. Now Iglesias, his combined numbers, Boston and Detroit, he's over 300 this year. 307. Kind of a young Marcos Scutaro. But a fabulous defender. Cishek misses away. Counts 1-2. And that's a final now in Toronto. 6-3 the final. Blue Jays beat the Rays. Rays are at 90 and 70. The Indians are only in the middle of that game, up 9-1. Got it out there, and now in a rundown, they'll have Avila. Terrific play by Solano, and the Marlins win the ball game on the double play. Donovan Solano knew that if he could stop Avila, that Avila wasn't fast enough to get to second if he got the out at first. And once he stopped him, he got the out at first, and the Marlins win it 3-2.
That's a heads-up play. You have to think that through to realize you can get the double play in many different ways. And Solano did. Good way to end it. Another save for Cishek, his 34th. All right, he's got to cut him off at the pass. He comes and gets the ball, does that. Now, instead of wasting time trying to tag the runner, he gets the out. They get Avila in the rundown. Ball game ends just like that.
Miami beats Detroit 3-2 the final.